All right, everybody, I'm on camera. We're gonna try something new for this drive. Let me make sure that all the cameras are on first, eh? That's probably a good idea. Okay, we're on. We're actually on. We're gonna take a drive over to Oasis, which is a spot in north of Austin, over by one of the lakes. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a self-driving podcast. It's just gonna be me for this one, but one of the things I've been thinking about is trying to expand this platform a little bit and try to do some cool new stuff. And one of the things I want to do is I want to start interviewing people while I'm driving a self-driving car. And I think that'd be kind of really cool. So if you're new to this channel, the car's just driving itself. The car's just driving itself. I'm in a Tesla Model Y Performance, and one of the things that I like to do is to, along with many other YouTube creators and folks that are making videos, is those of us that are in the full self-driving beta with Tesla, we're essentially helping Tesla gather data to improve the software for the car over time. I'm sure if you've been following a lot of Tesla stories, you know about this this technology, and controversial at times for sure. But it's something that I personally have been having very good experiences with. And it's something that I'm looking forward to share with y'all while we're having a discussion as well. So yeah, so we're on the way to Oasis. I've never taken this specific route before. So it's gonna be about 25-30 minutes. It's first time on full self-driving as well, taking this route. And I'm gonna be sharing sort of my thoughts of how the car is driving and some general ideas of where I think this technology is going, and all the other things that I've been experiencing from an AI perspective. And the thing that has sort of prompted me to do this sort of little bit of a different format is that just yesterday or today, just literally for the last few days, my life has sort of shifted in a way that I didn't expect it to, but it's very subtle. But it kind of talks about, I think it talks to just how, like, where the world is going from an AI perspective. And so I'll give you an example. So today, before I went to the gym, I was playing chess on chess.com, and I suck, okay? I'm rated 850, 870. I'm like a 900 to 1,000 ELO player on a good day. Otherwise, I'm in the 800s. And one of the things that chess.com does, as this guy cuts into our lane a little bit and the car reacted really well, is that it has this AI tool, this sort of software that helps you analyze your games. And every time I play this game, I go into this sort of tool, this software, and it's like, hey, Farzad, you suck here, you suck there. Do this better, do that better. And what's interesting is that this tool that helps me achieve this is a tool that is way better than the best players in the world. So people like Magnus Carlsen, people like Hikaru Nakamura, and Anish Giri, and these chess players. And this tool that's helping me get better at chess is better than any grandmaster that's ever existed on the planet, probably by an order of magnitude. And so I do that for 3 games, and I get frustrated. I'm like, you know what? I suck at chess. I'm gonna go do something else. So I go to the gym. And what did I do to go to the gym? I hopped in this car and I said, take me to the gym. And then the car took me to the gym. It just took me to the gym, and it brought me home as well. I didn't have to drive. I'm like, that's cool. And then I got home and I'm like, okay, I want to sort of try out some ideas for my videos. I'm gonna go on ChatGPT, GPT-4, and try out some stuff. I'm like thinking of titles, thinking of concepts. It's thinking of how to script certain videos, and it's just helping me do that. This AI is helping me do that. And I'm like, holy shit! I'll curse. I'm now, for the last, say, I don't know, for not half, but a significant portion of my waking hours already are being aided by artificial intelligence. And it's small right now. It feels small, but it's there already. And so that's had me really thinking about a lot of things, from the positives and negatives of AI. For the people that follow me, you know that I've been very concerned about where AI is heading, the potential of it disrupting the labor market. I've talked to a lot of different people about this on the channel and on other people's channels as well. The reason I keep looking back is I want to make sure the GoPro and the ceiling up here is not hasn't flown off. It should be perfectly fine, but I'm always a little paranoid with that. I'm always kind of concerned about where AI is going. And one of my biggest concerns is that as tools like GPT-4 evolve and more technology comes alive that's related to AI, we'll be in a situation where people might not have things to do. People might not have something to work towards, or all these white collar jobs that are relying on algorithms or logic or things that are computer related, or task keeping, or something that a computer could do. What's keeping a artificial intelligence tool from just completely disrupting that job? And so I think about that a lot, and I do get quite concerned. But as of late, my sort of tone has shifted a little bit as we go. I'm going to take it to the speed limit here on 45. Speed limit here 75. I'm just going to go 75 here. I think it's shifted a little bit because now I'm getting exposure to sort of how, and I'm going to see if it exits the lane here. We're supposed to be exiting the lane. It's perfect. Okay, great. So the car handled this perfectly. I've been thinking about how AI has been aiding my life in these very subtle ways, and I've been feeling a little bit more hopeful lately. I've been feeling a little bit more hopeful. I do think that it's going to be a positive for humanity. I feel like it's going to be something that will end up benefiting people more than we think, as long as it's something that is accessible to everybody, as long as it's something that everyone has access to, that people are able to access very, very cheaply and almost freely, and it's an aid instead of a replacer, or it's a tool that opens up a lot more opportunities for us than it destroys. And it's strange because I do use AI now in a way, like this is very like archaic AI. Think about where AI is going to be in 20 years. This is all very archaic, but me driving in this car is allowing me to create content. Like that's the crazy part of it, right? Like right now, I'm basically using AI to create content, and then that content's going to go on YouTube. YouTube is going to figure out how to monetize it as best as it can. It's going to show ads on the video, and then through an algorithm, through a sort of like an archaic artificial intelligence of sorts, and then that money is going to be split with me as a creator, and I'm going to be able to earn a living in a way through this type of mechanism. And it's all because of AI. It's because I have a self-driving car that's allowing me to, of course, I'm still responsible for the car, but I'm able to create a format or a place where this kind of conversation can be had. And hopefully, as I'm sort of talking about the advent of AI, you can kind of see with your own two eyes, if you're new to this channel and you're new to this concept, that I haven't driven. We've been on for like almost 10 minutes on this video, and I haven't done a damn thing. I'm just letting the car do its thing, and I'm just talking with you all. And so that, I don't know, man, it's like, it really does feel like the future, like we have entered this new thing. It's hard to explain, and I would love to hear from y'all in the comments, how you're thinking about this too. Like what's going through your mind in this new age of AI, in this new age of artificial intelligence and self-driving cars and chat GPT and algorithms, that are sort of appearing everywhere with not just social media, but with a bunch of other things as well, I don't know, man, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. I've gone from feeling very concerned about where AI is taking us to maybe some light bulbs going off here that are like, you know what, it maybe isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But I'm still concerned. I'm still very concerned for everyday people. I think the ones that are going to be most impacted by this, especially in the medium to short term, are folks that don't have the ability to have time, while at the same time having access to funds, right? Like if I use myself as an example, I'm extremely lucky to have access to both. I am somebody who's financially independent, and I'm also somebody who has a lot of time. And those two things kind of go hand in hand. So I'm able to leverage these technologies to build something else, to build something new. But I don't know if somebody who doesn't have the funds or the means to be able to invest time into building those things would have the same exact opportunities as I would. And so that's where my head goes to, is like, okay, so are we sure that as a society, we have the right things in place for people to be able to do kind of what I'm doing with my tools, right? Like, do we have the right incentives in place for people to use these tools for good and to better themselves and humanity, instead of using it as a tool for not good things for society and humanity? You know, it's, I don't know, it's complex. It's really, really weird. And there was that whole paper that was released by Elon Musk, Andrew Yang, and a bunch of other people, sort of calling a pause to AI. You know, and I do think that is a very, I can see where they're coming from. And I think if in a perfect world, that sort of call to arms in a sense makes sense. But I think it's an unrealistic expectation to have. I think if it was more of a thing of saying, hey, we're just going to go out and, you know, say our piece, and we told you that this is going to be a problem. Okay, like I could see that, you know, at least trying to do the right thing. But the truth of the matter is that now there's too many players with access to compute power and software that's going to really, they're just going to keep going. They're just going to keep going. So maybe we as a people, we need to like sort of like hold each other accountable to make sure that we're not using these things for bad. But how realistic is that? That doesn't seem very realistic. If y'all have any ideas in the comments, let me know on how we can solve that. But that, I don't know. So it's the early innings. It feels like the you know, top of the first. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but fortunately I know how to use these terms. It's top of the first. It's still early. You know, we're still quite a ways away from AI. It seems like that's going to replace everything we do, but it has already started. The example that gets used a lot is with GPT-4. It's able to create code for programs. You know, if you're not familiar with programming, it's able to sit down and, like as if it's a person, and write a bunch of code. And a lot of people that have software experience and coding experience have used the tool to make themselves 10 times better, 100 times better, faster, right? And so think about what sort of environment that sets up. Now, what that means is that instead of needing 100 coders, you need 1 or 2 insanely good coders to leverage this AI tool, and they will probably generate the same amount of work, high quality work or more, than the 100 people would, you know? And so under that scenario, like what does that mean? You know, what does that mean? What happens to the 98 people that had a job, that any sort of company that wants to work as, you know, maximize their profits and do as well as possible? If I was in their shoes, I would ask the question of, okay, so if I have a tool now that's going to enable my people to work 100 times better, you know, and I only need 1 or 2 people instead of 100, what's the point of keeping 100 software people on hand and just have the 2 that are amazing use ChatGPT and create all this stuff, you know? So that's one example, but there's many, you know, and if you have any examples you want to share in the comments, let me know too, you know? There's many examples where this could be disruptive for the bad reasons. But then the flip side of that is, if those 98 people come out of the workforce and say those 98 people are essentially obsolete. That's a very good merge to the left, by the way. Like assertive, I like it. By the way, for those that want to know my settings, it's assertive without minimal late changes selected. Those 98 people could leave the workforce, and then we could be in an environment where maybe there are tools, AI things that are available to just you and I that are super, super affordable, basically almost free, let's say, or free in the best case scenario, that we could use to build things, maybe as entrepreneurs, maybe as joining companies that are born out of this brand new thing, like this new thing that AI is bringing. One of the examples that I was thinking through, somebody, maybe I shouldn't say. I want to keep that to myself, actually. They might be upset at me if I share this secret, but I'll let them have it. It's okay. But there could be tools, there could be tools out there that could be used to, for regular people to access. But my concern becomes, okay, so say those folks have access to those tools and they're able to build these companies. What if AI can just replace that company? What if AI can become that new company? It can become that new thing, whatever that is. And so it seems like anything that's digital or software is the one that's at most at the highest risk of being disrupted really, really heavily. And Andrew Yang is somebody that has talked about this a lot. He had a book called The War of Normal People that he released a while ago that kind of talked about how the white collar worker is really going to be disrupted heavily from AI. And ChatGPT and GPT-4 kind of show how that can be the case. But on the flip side, again, in what ways can it be used to have the individual become more powerful? And maybe over time, what we'll have a situation where we kind of like move away from corporations being these sort of monopolies of high output and high value, if you want to think about it that way, and instead move to the individual having the power to do those things on an individual basis through those tools. And could we live in a world where we're less reliant on large corporations to do things, and instead we have individuals providing value? And think about how deflationary that could be, how much that could bring down the cost of things over time if you just have the individual becomes as powerful as possible. Instead of having 5 companies competing against each other, you have billions of people competing against each other in a way. So imagine just how much that will drive competition and the cost lower. Whatever, and this is just very abstract and conceptual. Like I don't even know what it's going to look like, but I think these trends are probably going to hold true as we sort of move into this new world. The cost of everything will come down if it's executed properly and if everybody has access to it. If it's just a few people and a few corporations that have access to it, they're just going to hog all that very powerful resource and technology and tool, and then just kind of say, well, screw you guys, we're the ones that are going to make everything, right? You guys can go screw yourselves. I don't know. That's where it gets kind of weird. And so it does seem like the software side, the program side, the computer side is the most at risk to be disrupted right now. Programmers, radiologists, I don't know, people that work with computers and things that could be disrupted with software AI. And then with things like the Tesla bot, the Optimus robot that Tesla's working on, I know Boston Dynamics is expanding some of their projects to be more in the humanoid robot aspect, where you have an actual robot that can do things like with hands and stuff. You have other startups that have been coming up and been announced since this Tesla bot has been announced. Then you get into the physical world, right? Then you have a disruption of the physical world, because now you're taking that AI expertise. Hummer EV, first time I've seen it in person. That thing looks insane. Damn. Did you know GM only sold 2 of them in the first quarter of 2023? Shout out Mary Barra, killing it. Couldn't help myself. But I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh, the robotics. Sorry. It's just that Hummer literally blew my mind. Those robotics, those robots, those things could start really disrupting physical labor. Again, if we're in a situation where the robots are not available for everybody, it's only available for some corporations, right? So here we got it right. Nope. Okay, so I took over for the first time. Yeah, so that's why the person has to take over, and I'm gonna go ahead and log something. Car should have never been entered the right lane. They should have kept in this lane and then entered the right lane later on the road. And there's a perfect example, right? So as a beta tester, that's why I always have to pay attention, because the car will make a decision that's improper, not necessarily unsafe, right? Because it would have entered that lane, and it would have been like, oh crap, I'm in the wrong place. It would have slowed down, it would have made the right turn, and it would have, entered, it would have done the wrong thing. But it wasn't necessarily a safety thing, but I had to pay attention. But that's like, you think about the transition of AI and how it's going to start going into those things like the robot, right? Like the physical work. What if the robot, as it learns, like what's that going to look like, right? Is it going to be able to do things perfectly at once? No, it's going to take time, but eventually, and I'm sure as you'll see from this, from this drive, you'll see that, yeah, there was one mistake that was made on this drive, but we've been driving for a little over 20 minutes, and that one mistake is probably very easily solved by just saying, hey, don't get on the right lane so early, wait a little bit longer, right? And it's just a data problem. And with me sitting down and sending that data back to Tesla, the next version is gonna fix for that. It's like, cool. But up until then, the ride has been perfect. It's been perfect. We have a beautiful sunset here. By the way, I want to get you caught up on where we are. This is the hill country part of Austin. I'm sure as you've seen this live, you're like, I didn't know Texas had hills. Yeah, it's a beautiful area out here. It's over by, I think it's called technically Westlake out here. It's over by the Oasis restaurant. Really beautiful spot. There's this restaurant out here that's quite popular, and people go there to get drinks and sort of hang out with friends and do all kinds of cool stuff, and we're going to be turning into that right now. It's going to pause here, make sure. I'm going to push it along here, so I'm going to call this an intervention. I'm just hitting the gas pedal a little bit to just enter this intersection a little bit quicker. I'll do a little counter too. Maybe not on this one, because it was barely anything going on. So we've had one intervention, which is me just hitting the gas here a little bit, the accelerator to move the car along a little bit. And the second one was that intervention where it was going into the lane that it shouldn't have. So we'll call it 1 and 1. But yeah, this area of Austin is gorgeous. A lot of beautiful homes. There's a lake right next door, and yeah, maybe one day we'll get a house out here. Maybe one day in 100 years. Yeah. So anyway, maybe we'll wrap it up there, because we are approaching our final destination here. There's the Oasis. There's that building out there. I may hop in and actually use the restroom, because I do have to go potty. I've been drinking a lot of water. Sorry if it's TMI. But yeah, we'll wrap it up once we arrive there. I'm going to see how it completes the stop sign here. So it's going to creep for visibility. You can see on the screen here that it has a little line up front. It's going to wait for this guy to make its right, and it's going to see that it's safe, and it's going to go. Yeah, perfect. And you'll see that these systems always bias towards safety. They'll always bias towards safety. And the one thing I've realized, like, wow, I'm getting so impatient. Why am I getting so impatient? But the reality is because I think a lot of us just hate waiting. We hate waiting. And then when we are driven by a system that is being safe versus what you would be doing, you have a very different experience. So we've arrived. I'm gonna let this thing go into the parking lot. Let's see how it does this. And I'm actually gonna take over here, because actually it's not doing too bad. All right, so here's Oasis. Welcome everybody. This is Oasis. I hope you had a great day. But yeah, if you do visit Austin, I highly recommend checking this out. There's a beautiful vista inside. You can kind of see the sunset over the mountains, the hills, I guess, not really the mountains. And yeah, really cool spot. Bring your family, bring your friends, and have a really good time. All right, everybody, we're gonna wrap it up here. Let me know what you think of this format. It's a sort of quick 25-minute thing, and I hope you had a good time, and we'll see you around. All right, everybody, take it easy. Bye-bye.